Hey guys, it's Tamara coming back at you with another video. Welcome back to my channel. Second video in the 3-part series about thought distortion. So I decided to kind of do, in case you're wondering, like, where in the world is she? I'm still in my office, but I decided to do a different angle. So instead of me having my back to the window over here, I decided to kind of turn around a little bit. I think sometimes you can get bored with seeing videos in the same position. So just in case you're wondering, like, where is she now? Same office, just different angle. All right, guys, so the benefits to you in this video today is going to be that you're going to get some tips on how to manage those thought distortions that we talked about in the previous video. So I'm not going to go over them again because I do want to have you watch that video, and I'm going to link it right up here for you. You can watch that video. It's pretty long. It's like 10, 11 minutes. And I explain to you there what thought distortions are, and I kind of pull apart and define them. But in this video, I'm going to give you some tips that I tend to give clients. They are based on mindfulness principles, and so I'm going to offer this to you now. All right, so let's start with number 1. Okay, one of the things that I have noticed with many of my clients who are struggling with thinking errors or thought distortions or cognitive distortions, worrying, anxiety, is that they don't know how to stay balanced. So one thing I have on the top of my list here that I wrote down is I want a lot of my clients to be balanced, and I'm going to encourage the same thing for you. And what I mean by that is when you are struggling with anxiety, or you're struggling with worry, or you don't know exactly what to expect, and your anxiety is going up, your depression is like really on you, or you're anxious, the best thing to do is search for balance. When I work with clients who don't handle or tolerate bad news well, the first thing I tell them to do is walk away from the bad news. As soon as you get the bad news, shut everything else down or off and take 5 to 10 minutes to process the information that you just received. Once you do that, seek balance, right? And there's plenty of ways that you can seek balance. You can call another person and ask them what they think about it. You can pray about it, right? That's another way. That's something that I tend to do. You can just sit with yourself and think about it, right? Allow your thoughts to kind of provide you with some clarity about the situation, right? Some people think so much that they begin to overthink. And I think overthinking is good up until a point to when, if you're feeling crazy, for lack of a better word, if you're feeling, like you're losing your footing, then that means you need to stop the overthinking. But for the most part, I think thinking things through is a good way to develop some kind of balance, okay? The next thing is I want you to ask yourself, what's the proof of this bad situation? Okay, or what's the proof of this thinking error that I have? So as I discussed in the last video, somebody who magnifies things, primarily someone with borderline personality disorder, if they magnify things and make things really, really big, the first thing that I tell someone with BPD to do is ask themselves, what's the proof for my potentially exaggerated emotion and thought, and who can help me balance this, right? Who can help me figure out if my thinking is in line with what it should be in line with, okay? The next suggestion is seek advice or input from somebody that you know well, somebody that you trust, somebody that you respect, and somebody who doesn't just tell you what you want to hear. So you want, suggestions, advice, and feedback on the situation or on your emotions or on your thought patterns, to kind of help you balance it. Again, you're trying to seek balance. You're not trying to figure out if you're right or wrong, if the situation is, nay or yay. You want to seek balance. What's the gray? Remember, I talked about that in the last video. What's the gray here? I know my mind wants me to see things in black and white, like, yes or no or either or, but actually there's a lot of gray, and there's a possibility that there's many ways I can look at this, okay? The next thing is pray about it. I said that at the beginning. So prayer for me is basically like meditation. And I'm going to share what I typically do when I'm up against a brick wall and I don't know how to get out because I'm just anxious sometimes and I'm not sure if I'm seeing things correctly. One of the things that I do is I grab my Bible. I read the King James New International Version Bible. You've probably seen it in stores. It's NIV. And what that means is that the thou and thou art is taken out of the Bible, and it's so much more relatable, just in case you want to know. But I love reading that. And what I do is I go somewhere in silence and I read a few scripture passages of reassurance. I pray. And after that, I start holding on to my faith a lot more, intensely. And then from there, I move forward with whatever decision I think needs to be made. So prayer can be a meditation. It really can. It really is just sitting with yourself, talking to God about something and trying to figure out which way you need to go. All right. The next one is journal. And this is kind of, again, it's another mindfulness activity. Journaling is powerful. I do it as well. I encourage a lot of my adolescent clients to do it. And journaling for me is powerful for my clients, and here's why. Because what it does is it causes you to have to take this really intimidating, really big situation and put it in words and give yourself a visual, if I can say it, a visual. It allows you to give yourself a visual. It allows you to write things down and make it a reality for you. It allows you to put your heart and feelings down on a piece of paper. It's also based in mindfulness techniques, right? Because when you journal, you have to do a lot of different things you're probably not aware of. And one would be breathing. Sometimes, right? Sometimes when you are, my camera's trying to focus. There we go. Sometimes when you are struggling with something, you don't realize that you're actually holding your breath, especially if your muscles are tight. And journaling kind of makes you conscious of your breathing because you're in the moment, you're in your head. And so you're focusing on your breathing. So you're breathing, which is good. The other thing that journaling does is it causes you to take all your intellectualization, all of your thoughts, and put them down on paper. And so it gives you the opportunity to compare thoughts and examine them. So journaling can be very powerful, and there's many ways that you can journal. I might actually do a video on therapeutic techniques, and I'll make journaling a part of that. So I'm kind of throwing that around in the back of my mind. So if you're interested in that, let me know, and I'll start posting videos on therapeutic techniques that I find helpful with my clients from a trauma perspective, okay? Just let me know. The next thing is give it a rest. Sometimes we just push way too hard to try to rectify something, and we're just making ourselves sick, right? So sometimes once you've talked to other people, once you've gotten feedback, once you've gotten advice, once you've prayed about it, once you've journaled about it, give it a rest. You got to drop it. You got to move on, start filling up your time and your energy with other things and see where the chips may fall. I think that's healthy. Too many hours spent on something, too many days spent on something can really affect you psychologically, emotionally, and physiologically, okay? You can start having heart palpitations. You can start having migraines, which I get all the time. You can start having chest pains. You can start having muscle tension. So you want to be able to, once you've given something your undivided attention, walk away and keep moving. That's what you want. The last thing that I say is extraordinarily powerful for my clients is educating yourself. Right? So I tend to provide a lot of the psychoeducation in sessions with my clients, but for you, if you want to do this at home, engaging in education is helpful. And the best way to do that, I think, and the less intimidating, is to start out with Google. Just go ahead and Google whatever you're struggling with and see what comes up. Go to forums online and see what other people are saying, right? When my clients are dealing with, for example, child custody issues. I don't get involved in that, of course, but I do counsel the family, counsel the child, and then after that, I tell the family to Google the topic, right? So let's say they're unsure about child custody arrangements. Well, then what I tell them to do is Google, the good side of that, and then Google the bad side of that. So educating yourself is not just looking for the answers that you want. Educating yourself is looking for the answers you want plus the answers you don't want. Right? So I'm going to put that up here because I think that's so important, even for me to remember, that educating yourself is searching for the answers you do want and searching for the answers you don't want. Okay? So keep that in mind. But I think education is another tool that can be beneficial for you. All right, guys, so thanks so much for visiting me today on the second video of this series. I'm going to be posting the final video of this series on thinking patterns at the end of the week, which is on Fridays. Again, I post Mondays and Fridays, but this week I really spoiled you because I did a Wednesday video, which is awesome, and a Wednesday article. If you haven't seen that article, I encourage you to go to blogs.psychcentral.com/caregivers, or you can visit me on my website, anchoredinKnowledge.com. I will post this information at the end of the video so that you can have it. It's a visual, and you can write it down. But in the meantime, guys, I asked that you give this video a thumbs up if it was good for you and helpful. When you do that, you are pushing the video to the top of the search results, and you're giving this video some exposure so other people can find it. And I encourage you to subscribe as well, because when you subscribe, you get all of my updated videos right here for you. If you have a topic that you'd like me to talk about, feel free to post it in the comments section below. All right, guys, thanks so much for visiting me, and I will see you on Friday. Bye.